Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept our humble obeisances.
Panchakapatrubhyashta kripasindhaveva cha patitanam pavaneva vaishnava namo. Yes. What's that? Om Agyana Timiranda Shagyanan Shalakaya Chokshusho Nimilatang Janatasmai Sri Gurve Namaha Mantra Guru Ajota Shikha Guru Ganta Chorane Age Kodi Abandon Panchakapatrubhyashta kripasindhaveva cha patitanam Vaishnava namo. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya, Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Namane Namaste, Shashri Devi Guru Manamshani, Nirvishesha Shanagari Prashtatadaya Shataranai. Yeah. Chapter 5, we're beginning from chapter 5 this morning. What's just happened, perhaps someone would like to volunteer to give us a brief summary of the events of chapter 4, chapter 3, chapter 4. Would someone like to do that? Rukmini Hari Shavini Devi Dashi.
Prabhuji, I will not be able to sum up everything, but just little thing I just want to tell that which I took from these chapters, that this is which I was able to remember, that Sati has an eternal relation with Lord Shiva, and it's not like that she has relation in this birth and she will not have in rest of the births if she takes, or in every kalpa or every time she takes. So, and she's very chaste. She's the expansion of as we know that Radha from Radharani Ashtakis, so like Lakshmi, and so she comes. So she has eternal relationship with Lord Shiva, and being a chaste lady, it is it is that a chaste lady always want her husband to be respected by everyone. So Sati's father Daksha insulted Lord Shiva, and it was she was not able to tolerate that. She tried her best she tried her best that to make her father understand, but her father was so puffed up that he was not able to understand. He ignored Sati, and as being a chaste lady, she thought that there is if someone offend Vaishnava, Shiva is not an ordinary Vaishnav. He's a Vaishnava Yatha Shambhu. He's a best of the Vaishnavas. So, and one should not hear the blasphemy of Vaishnav. She just thought that this body which she has got from her father, so this is like her father has insulted her husband, and so she thought that it's better to, I am not able to do anything, because she was not able to make Daksha understand that he has make a big offense, that everybody worships Lord Shiva, but what he did, like he insulted he Daksha. She said that Daksha is a person who can find a fault in a great Vaishnava. Generally devotees see the good in other Vaishnava, and he in a Shiva also, Daksha was able to find a fault. So she thought that it's better the body which she has got from her father to give up. So she just left the body, and there is like this, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Rukmini Hari Shebini Devi Dashi, very, very elaborate summary of the events of the previous chapter. So let's take a look now at what's happening in chapter 5. Would someone like to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Maitreya said, when Lord Shiva heard from Narada that Sati, his wife, was now dead because of Prajapati Daksha's insult to her, and that his soldiers had been driven away by the Ribhu demigods, he became greatly angry.
Yeah. Now, maybe perhaps we could get a little more detail. Perhaps someone else would like to share with us the details. What happened in the sacrifice specifically? Where Lord Shiva, he said, what did he do? He produced. No, that's coming now. Actually, yeah. So we okay. Let's carry on. Please read.
This Lord Shiva, being extremely angry, pressed his lips with his teeth and immediately snatched from his head a strand of hair which blazed like electricity or fire. He stood up at once, laughing like a madman, and dashed the hair to the ground.
That was the point I wanted to make there about in text number 1, the Narad Muni, the extraordinary character, Narad Muni. We see him preaching. This is 4th canto. Already you've seen so many examples of Narad's preaching. In the first canto, to Vyas Muni, he's preaching to Yudhisthira in the 1st canto. And then Narad Muni, he's at the discussion with Lord Brahma in the 2nd canto. And now we see Narad Muni. He comes and he mentions this to Lord Shiva. So it's interesting how he's an interesting person, Narad Muni. He facilitates things. He expedites. Right? Expedites, makes things go quickly. And he goes and he speaks to Lord Shiva and tells him what happened. Let's see how Lord Shiva responded. Please read.
A fearful black demon as high as the sky and as bright as 3 suns combined was thereby created. His teeth very fearful and the hairs on his head like burning fire. He had thousands of arms equipped with various weapons, and he was garlanded with the heads of men.
Thousands of arms. There's Narad explaining to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva he's pulling the hair. Boom. Virabhadra, thousands of arms. Virabhadra. Vira. So powerful. Let's hear a little bit more. Perhaps someone would like to read.
When that gigantic demon asked with folded hands, "What shall I do, my lord?" Lord Shiva, who is known as Bhutnath, directly ordered, "Because you are born from my body, you are the chief of all associates. Therefore, kill Daksha and his soldier at the sacrifice." Maitre continued, "My dear Vidur, that black person was personified anger of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was prepared to execute the order of Lord Shiva. Thus, considering himself capable of coping with any power offered against him, he circumambulated Lord Shiva."
Read on.
Many other soldiers of Lord Shiva followed the fierce personality in the tumultuous uproar. He carried a great trident, fearful enough to kill even death, and on his legs he wore bangles which seemed to roar.
Prabhupada's comments, please read.
Here is the beginning of competition between Brahma Tejas and Shiva Tejas. By Brahma Tejas, Brahminical strength, Bhrigu Muni has created the Ribhu demigods who had driven away the soldiers of Lord Shiva stationed in the arena. When Lord Shiva heard that his soldiers had been driven away, he created the tall black demon Veerabhadra to retaliate. There is sometimes a competition between the mode of goodness and the mode of ignorance. That is the way of material existence. Even when one is situated in the mode of goodness, there is every possibility that his position will be mixed with or attacked by the mode of passion or ignorance. That is the law of material nature. This quarrel between Lord Shiva and Bhrigu Muni, centering around Prajapati Daksha, is practical example of such competition between the different qualitative modes of material nature.
It's a question. Rukmini Harishini Harishabini Devi Dashi. Prashna. Question.
Yes, Prabhuji. In NOD, we see that there are so many ecstasies. We see like laughing ecstasy, or so many like crying. They are all the Premi Bhaktas. So now, when the Sati has died, and in the third or second paragraph, in one of the slides, I think first or second slide, you showed that Shiva was laughing. How to understand this, Prabhuji? Laughing like a madman.
Yeah, well, it says that Lord Shiva being extremely angry, and then he pulls the hair, which blazed like electricity. He stood up, laughing like a madman. Yeah, laughing like a madman. Yes, why laughter at that stage? I don't have any comment on that. Rukmini, Hari Shavini, Devi Dasi. I don't relate Prabhupada commenting anything in the purport that it's a symptom of ecstatic love. I think it's just avadut. It's just the incomparable, extraordinary character of Mahadev, Lord Shiva. So he's laughing in that way while he produces the Virabhadra demon.
Prabhuji, I have a it's my mental concoction. Like when we are very sad, we laugh and we cry. So can I understand like that he was so sad that he laughed at that moment like a madman?
Probably we can't project the experiences that we have in this conditional existence. We can't project them upon the character of Lord Shiva. We may laugh under those circumstances in that way, but to explain Lord Shiva's behavior according to our own experience in conditional life is probably faulty. So I don't. There's no comment on it. It's just he's extraordinary. Vaishnaviya Kriya Mudra Bhujate na Bigai. In Bhagavad, it explains that the Vaishnaviya Kriya Mudra, the behavior of a Vaishnava, Bhujate na Bigyate na Bhuja. Even a learned person cannot understand the activities of a Vaishnava. So probably we could conclude it on that. Let's read a little more. Please read.
At that time, all the persons assembled in the sacrificial arena, the priests, the chief of the sacrificial performance, and the brahmanas and their wives, wondered where the darkness was coming from. Later, they could understand that it was a dust storm, and all of them were full of anxiety.
Yeah, carry on.
Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, along with the other women assembled, became very anxious and said, "This danger has been created by Daksha because of the death of Sati, who, even though completely innocent, quit her body as her sisters looked on."
Yeah. So Prabhupada will comment about Prasuti and how she was able to understand the circumstances. Please read.
At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva's hair is scattered, and he pierces the rulers of the different directions with his trident. He laughs and dances proudly, scattering their hands like flags, as thunder scatters the clouds all over the world.
So Rukmini Mataji, you can see again here in his act of dissolution, he's also laughing. So it's probably not like our laughter. It's just an extraordinary feature of Lord Shiva. You're laughing in that way. Now, Prabhupada's commenting here on Prasuti and how she was able to understand everything. Let's read. This is purport's text 9. Please read down.
Prasuti, being a soft-hearted woman, could immediately understand that the imminent danger approaching was due to impious activity of hard-hearted Prajapati Daksha. He was so cruel that he would not save her youngest daughter Sati from the act of committing suicide in the presence of her sisters. Sati's mother could understand how much Sati had been pained by the insult of her father. Sati had been present along with her other daughters, and Daksha was purposely deceived all of them but her because she happened to be the wife of Lord Shiva. This consideration convinced the wife of Daksha of the danger which was now ahead, and thus she knew that Daksha must be prepared to die for his heinous act.
Okay, so others were confused about the darkness, but Prasuti could immediately understand that, now we're going to experience reaction because of the behavior of Daksha in neglecting and hurting Shati, such an exalted Paramahansa Vaishnavi. So big reaction coming. Let's have a look, a bit of an overview now of this chapter, the events that we're looking at. Lord Shiva, he produces Virabhadra. Virabhadra, there's in Yogashan, there's a special asan, Virabhadrashan. It's a standing pose, Virabhadrashan. It's called the warrior pose. It's called, in English, they call it the warrior pose, Virabhadrashan. So he produces Virabhadra, the 1,000 arms, huge sky, his features it describes, a horrific demon. And then they come, and then there's some concern, and when they see the huge dust storm and then they're coming, and then the destruction. We're going to hear now about the destruction of the sacrifice, the second sacrifice that Daksha has prepared, in which Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Brahma are not invited. And Virabhadra comes with his many associates, and they tear the place apart. And we'll hear about this in detail now. Someone likes to read a few verses.
My dear Vidura, all the followers of Lord Shiva surrounded the arena of sacrifice. They were of short stature and were equipped with various kinds of weapons. Their bodies appeared to be like those of sharks, blackish and yellowish. They ran all around the sacrificial arena and thus began to create disturbances.
We've got quite a scene here. Short, yellow, blackish, look like sharks, and they're running all around this place and causing great havoc. Please read.
Some of the soldiers pulled down the pillars which were supporting the pandal of sacrifice. Some of them entered the female quarters. Some began destroying the sacrificial arena, and some entered the kitchen and the residential quarters.
It's like a complete inundation. Attack from all fronts. Attack from all fronts. Read on.
They broke all the pots made for use in sacrifice, and some of them began to extinguish the sacrificial fire. Some tore down the boundary line of the sacrificial arena, and some passed urine on the arena. Some blocked the way of the fleeing sages, some threatened the women assembled there, and some arrested the demigods who were fleeing in the pandal.
No, the Prabhupada is making a comment. He made the comment earlier about this competition, this. We're in the material world here. There's material, not the spiritual world. They're doing yajna. They're doing yajna for purification, for to remove karma, to purify. We're in the material world. This is where this is actually happening. Well, we could see it's a celestial realm. We could see that Sati and Mahadev and Sati could see all the participants of the yajna that were arriving in their various celestial airplanes. So even in such an environment where you go to the program in your celestial aeroplane, and the great Prajapati, the sons of Lord Brahma are there, and it's such an exalted, aristocratic, we could say, it's a elitist. It's the demigods. It's such a high level, and yet still such calamities, such disastrous, such destructive chaos goes on, even at even high levels in this material world, where the great demigods who are performing, the controllers of the material energy, and the progenitors of the species, still they can get completely overwhelmed by the modes of material nature, as we see in this very dramatic situation. Please read.
There was a
Please read. Mataji, you are muted.
Shabdanai.
There was a continuous shower of stones, and all the priests and other members assembled at the sacrifice were put into immense misery. For fear of their lives, they dispersed in different directions.
I know we sometimes we preach different places. I won't say where, but some countries nearby where we are now. I'm in Mayapur, nearby, not so far away. With programs, sometimes they pelt with stones. So under the roof, under the tin roof, bang, bang. So we can remember this, the Daksha Yajna when it happens. Next time, please read.
Veerbhadra tore off the mustache of Bhrigu, who was offering the sacrificial oblations with his hands in the fire.
He tore off. I mean, what class? Veerbhadra, what class? Okay, he tore off the mustache. That's so classy. He's so expert in insulting. What an insult. Tore off the mustache. Let's read on.
Veerbhadra immediately caught Bhaga, who had been moving his eyebrows during Bhrigu's cursing of Lord Shiva, and out of great anger thrust him to the ground and forcibly put out his eyes.
Okay, because he was because of moving his eyebrows during the event when Bhrigu was cursing Lord Shiva, he liked it. Now look what happens to him. Read on.
Just as Baladev knocked out the teeth of Dantavakra, the king of Kalinga, during the gambling match at the marriage ceremony of Aniruddha, Veerbhadra knocked out the teeth of both Daksha, who had shown them while cursing Lord Shiva, and Pusha, who by smiling sympathetically had also shown his teeth.
Oh. So there's some brilliant, in one stroke it appears. The combination. Veerbhadra's Daksha's teeth go and Pusha's teeth go. Combination of blows there. Yes, Roy, Ramananda Dash. Harikari.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I have one question. That in first paragraph there is mentioned that various members, general members are, I think they are innocent. Then why they had to suffer with that.
Yeah, no, everything is accounted for here. We'll see that described. That there were those Brahmins who were enjoying it when Lord Shiva was being insulted and the followers of Lord Shiva were being cursed. Those Brahmins who were siding with Brigu, they're all accounted. And there were others that didn't. So it's not that, some people are being randomly punished. No, everything was accounted for. And let's see, it's very specific. The targeting reactions here, he moved his eyebrows, boom, eyes are gone. He laughed, and Pusha laughed and smiled and showed his teeth, smashed his mouth, the teeth are gone. Everything is very targeted. It's not that randomly you get some reaction that you didn't deserve. Everything is properly accounted for here. Jagat Mata Shachi Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, then pranams. Prabhuji, in the 12th verse, Daksha was called Mahatma. I'm not able to understand it.
Well, compared to us, he's definitely Mahatma. It's Daksha. He's a Prajapati. He's the son of Lord Brahma. I mean, that's enough. He's one of the first 15 or 20 people in the creation. How more important do you want to be? You're among the first 15 people in the creation. Okay, 9 sons of Brahma, Satarupa, and who else is there? Govinda. There's 12 people. You're in the first handful of people in the whole creation. How more? I think that's not enough to warrant you as a Mahatma. Just by statistically speaking, you're a Mahatma. Let's read on. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's a great. We'll see. He's doing a sacrifice. The Lord Shiva is there. Lord Brahma is there. That's a great soul. Mahatma means great. Mahatma means powerful. Mahatma means great. Means extraordinary. Extraordinary being. He's an extraordinary being. Even the whole point here is that even at such a high level of administrative functioning on this planet, and such exalted, the son of Lord Brahma, the first 10, 12 people in the universe, still the modes of material nature are there. It's not that the modes of material nature took a bit of time before they kind of settled in the material world. Right from the very first act, this yagya is going on. So in the very beginning of creation, we're talking about here. And still the modes of material nature are very influential. Mama Maya Dura Jaya. Let's read some comments from Srila Prabhupada. Someone like to read, please?
This sort of fight was very common, especially during marriage ceremonies, when everyone has in challenging spirit. In that challenging spirit, a fight was sure to occur. And in such fights, there was commonly killing and misfortune. After finishing such fighting, the party could come to compromise and everything would be settled. This Daksha Yagya was similar to such events. Now all of them, Daksha and the demigod Bhag and Pusha and Bhrigu Muni, were punished by the soldier of Lord Shiva. But later everything would come to a peaceful end. So this spirit of fighting between one another was not exactly inimical, because everyone was so powerful and wanted to show his strength by Vedic mantras or mystic power. All these fighting skills were very elaborately exhibited by the different parties at the Daksha Yagya.
Yeah, everything here is dharmic. It's all about Brahminical Teja and the potency. We're looking here at the Shiva Teja. Birabhadra is the power of Lord Shiva personified. In fact, Prabhupada quoted the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is exciting stuff here. And the way in which all of these rascals are being dispensed with is very glorious. It's not like in modern times, you don't even face it, not about Brahminical Tejas or your mystic power or your power of mantra or your expertise. They're just technical. It's all about technical. They just send the drone and rockets. You're miles away. They send them off. They send it, who knows where it lands. Or the drone unmanned. It's all cowardly rockets. Where it lands, we don't know. This is cowardly. It's cowards. It's not real. It's not real Kshatriya spirit. It's not real chivalry and heroism. Where the battle of the mystic power, the strength, the Brahminical Tejas. It's very exciting. Let's read on a few more verses.
Then Veerbhadra, the giant-like personality, sat on the chest of Daksha and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful.
And that's interesting. It's not that everything just goes smooth. He couldn't get his head off. Very interesting. Please read.
He tried to cut the head of Daksha with hymns as well as weapons, but still it was hard to cut even the surface of the skin of Daksha's head. Thus Veerbhadra was exceedingly bewildered.
With hymns, with mantras. With mantras. What are those mantras? Where are they written? Mantras to cut off someone's head. Where do you get those mantras? Let's read on.
When Veerbhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial arena by which the animals were to have been killed, he took the opportunity of this facility to behead Daksha.
Okay. So that just happened to be that was quite convenient. That the animal sacrificing machine implement was just there, so he took that. Cut off Daksha's head. Please read.
Upon seeing the action of Veerbhadra, the party of Lord Shiva was pleased and cried out joyfully, and all the bhutas, ghosts, and demons that had come made a tumultuous sound. On the other hand, the Brahmanas in charge of the sacrifice cried out in grief at the death of Daksha.
Oh, what a scene, no? All of the followers of Lord Shiva, they're all in ecstasy, and making a tumultuous sound as Daksha's head gets cut off. And the others, they cried out in grief. Please read.
Veerbhadra then took the head and with great anger threw it into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, offering it as an oblation. In this way, the followers of Lord Shiva devastated all the arrangements for sacrifice. After setting fire to the whole arena, they departed for their master's abode, Kailash.
Yeah, once again, we're commenting on the style of Veerbhadra, very classy. After cutting off the head, he throws it into the sacrificial fire as an offering. He's very classy. Jagat Mata Shachi Devidosi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, he's cutting Daksha's head with a wooden device. There's a wooden device they are using for cutting the animal.
Well, you may have to imagine a little bit the details of this. We kind of get the idea. Some implement was there for the animal sacrifice, which he took. There's the artist's picture here. It's got an axe as well. We've got blood on it. Whether that was the situation, not sure. Those wooden things, he was going to do it with mantra. So somehow he got that implement there and was able to get the head off. That's about all we can say on that. Much like a guillotine. It's French. The French invented the guillotine. Okay. Now let's see what happens in chapter 6. Let's hear a few verses. Someone like to read?
All the priest and other member of sacrificial assembly and all the demigods having been defeated by the soldier of Lord Shiva and injured by weapons like trident and swords, approached Lord Brahma with great fear. After offering him obeisances, they began to speak in detail of all the events which had taken place.
I'm supposed to be. Oh. Sorry about this. You can't avoid it. If you got your mic on and you're online, that's it. You can't avoid the phones. They attack you from all directions, the iPad, the phone, the computer. They're online and the sound's on, so sorry about that. There's a question, Rukmini Hari Shabini.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, they are all going to Lord Brahma and telling all the events. So I was thinking when the first Daksha insulted Lord Shiva, Brahma was there only. Right. So now the second time, Daksha invited everyone except Lord Shiva. So why there is so how to understand, or if I'm missing something like that, why they are.
Next verse. Can you read that?
Both Lord Brahma and Vishnu had already known that such events would occur in the sacrificial arena of Daksha, and knowingly beforehand they did not go to the sacrifice.
Okay. Yeah.
When Lord Brahma heard everything from the demigods and the members who had attended the sacrifice, he replied, "You cannot be happy in executing a sacrifice if you are blaspheme a great personality and thereby offend his lotus feet. You cannot have happiness in that way."
It's like here we have kind of like a lesson. On this high level, the universal administrators getting overwhelmed. Daksha got overwhelmed. It's all coming back to Daksha's bodily concept, even though he's Mahatma. He's a special person, specially empowered, progenitor. I mean, Sachi, Jagat Mata Sachi. After this, we'll hear the Daksha has 1,000 sons, and then 10,000 sons. If that doesn't make you a Mahatma, what does? The father of 110,000 sons. But the principle is there. The principle is there that if you offend a great personality, no matter how great you are, even you have 100,000 sons, and you're a progenitor of humanity, you offend a great personality like Lord Shiva, then you cannot get happiness. Now, in the purport here, Prabhupada is explaining why actually it was good that Lord Shiva, that Daksha was killed. Perhaps someone would like to comment. Why is it that this is a good thing that Daksha is actually killed? Prabhupada comments. Perhaps someone can share their thoughts on this. Why was it good that Virabhadra came and punished Daksha in his way, cut off his head, killed him? Why is that good? Perhaps someone who has not commented up to this point in class today might like to answer this question. Why was it good that Daksha was killed? Priya Satyavama Devidosi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So Daksha committed a very, big Vaishnava aparadh by insulting Lord Shiva, and he was saying all sorts of, and I for the lack of a better word, mean things. And Vaishnava aparadh is something which should not be excused, and it is never excused. So for this reason, maybe punishment of Daksha was justified.
That's good. That's good. His objections were based upon the Lord Shiva's preaching strategy. Lord Shiva's preaching strategy. He's not doing that out of some material. He's not dressing and hanging out with these people and doing these things because he's attached. He's doing this out of kindness, Lord Shiva, because such persons cannot be rectified by preaching Vishnu because they're not on the platform of Sattva-gun. So the hobgoblins and ghostly characters, they have to be rectified, and Lord Shiva therefore assumes this dress, assumes this persona in order to deliver them as his preaching strategy, and for that reason he was criticized by Daksha. So this is a great offense. A little story I'll share with you that I preached in Bangladesh many years. I lived there. I still visit. And one time, one devotee came. He saw me in the office. The foreigners, there are not so many there. In fact, there's none. No foreigners there now, and the foreigners are rare. I was there. He saw me from a distance. He came running into the office. I was sitting there. He came running in and paid his obeisances. He's an extraordinary character and quite a charismatic chap. He's in white cloth. Later, devotees explained to me that actually I'd seen this character, like a little bit of a kind of crazy type of a chap that you sometimes see hanging about our temples. And then we'd go to programs. We'd be invited to people's homes for Prasadam. Of course, that was special. It was so austere in Dhaka. in the temple. And we go to someone that did Vaishnav Seva, invite us. So we'd all go. So there were no Sunday feasts or anything in Bangladesh. So living in the temple there. We go to the house program. Oh, what a relief. And this devotee, this gentleman, he'd sing, and sometimes I'd ask him to sing, and I'd hear him sing the Vaishnava bhajans. It melted the heart. He'd sing with such devotion. He'd sing bhajans, Narottam's bhajans. He'd sing in such a sweet way. So I inquired, the devotees told me actually he was a sannyasi. He had been a sannyasi in Gaudiya Math, been a sannyasi. And he fell down from sannyas. But, still he was associating with devotees and practicing Krishna consciousness. He was welcomed in ISKCON. And one time he revealed to me why he fell down from sannyas. It was fascinating what he said. He said that he was giving the lecture, Gaudiya Math temple in Dhaka. And he criticized ISKCON sannyasis. He criticized them. He said, what about you? Said you want to go and you want to go and hear from the sannyasis that wear shirt and pant? The sannyasis that wear shirt and pant, you want to go, you see them, they're coming, they're wearing shirt and pant, you want to go and hear from them? So he publicly criticized our sannyasis. Now, why they're wearing shirt and pant is because they're attracted to Bangladesh garments and they like to wear the shirt and pant? No, they're wearing the shirt and pant because that's what they have to do. They have to assume that address in order to get into the country, because they're not going to be allowed in the country if they come as a sannyasi for preaching. They're not going to be allowed in the country. They're not going to get entrance. They have to go as a tourist. So these things have to be done under the circumstances in order to spread Krishna consciousness. So they're accepting that austerity of giving up the sannyas dress in order to look like an ordinary person in order to go and preach, and they're criticized for not following the principles of sannyas. So this is a great offense. And in bewildering the mind of all these people who are listening, there's a great offense. Actually, this is their surrender. This is called Jukta Bharaga. Jukta Bharaga, that we're prepared to accept anything. We're not attached. We're not attached to detachment. We're prepared to accept anything to push on the Krishna consciousness movement. And then if we're criticized as being a bishai, because we're accepting things that even we're not inclined to accept, but we're accepting them for the service of the Lord, and we're criticized as being a bishai because of attachment to these things, a great offense. That gentleman, he fell down from sannyas as a result of publicly criticizing the ISKCON devotees for their preaching strategies. So similar here, this is Lord Shiva's preaching strategy to show kindness upon the rejected class. And Daksha is publicly insulting him and publicly minimizing him. So very grievous offense. And therefore, Prabhupada comments it was good for Daksha to be killed. Let's read what Prabhupada says in this connection. Someone like to read, please?
It was good for Daksha to have died in the fight, because if he had lived, he would have committed such offenses at the lotus feet of grace personalities again and again. According to Manu's law, when a person commits murder, punishment is beneficial for him, because if he is not killed, he might commit more and more murders and therefore be entangled in his future lives for having killed so many persons. Therefore, the king's punishment of a murderer is appropriate. If those who are extremely offensive are killed by the grace of the Lord, that is good for them. In other words, Lord Brahma explained to the demigods that it was good for Daksha to have been killed.
Yeah. Read on. A few more verses. Please read.
You have excluded Lord Shiva from taking part in the sacrificial results, and therefore you are all offenders at his lotus feet. Still, if you go without mental reservations and surrender unto him and fall down at his lotus feet, he will be very pleased.
Now, it's not that Lord Brahma is just, he's empathizing. He's sitting, he's listening, but then he gets counsel. It's not that he just sits there and says, you must have felt very frustrated when that happened. And I can relate to that. And It's called empathy. It's considering the situation of the person that's speaking with you and listening to their feelings, as well as, it's called empathic listening. He's doing that. But it doesn't end there. He doesn't just say, yeah, I can understand that you were really frustrated. Go to Lord Shiva and fall down at his feet. That's all he says to do. We go and fall down at his feet. And we please, it's very practical advice, the solution to rectify the situation. Please read.
Lord Brahma said that no one, not even himself, Indra, all the members assembled in the sacrificial arena, or all the sages could know how powerful Lord Shiva is. Under the circumstances, who would dare to commit an offense at his lotus feet?
Read on.
After thus instructing all the demigods, the Pitas and the lords of the living entities, Lord Brahma took them with him and left for the abode of Lord Shiva, known as the Kailash Hill.
Now, let's read Prabhupada's comments here. Please read.
Lord Shiva is also called Ashutosh. Ashu means very soon and Tosh means to become satisfied. The demigods were advised to go to Lord Shiva and beg his pardon. And because he is very easily pleased, it was certain that their purpose would be served. Lord Brahma knew the mind of Lord Shiva very well, and he was confident that the demigods who were offenders at his lotus feet could mitigate their offenses by going to him and surrendering without reservation.
Read on.
Brahma also asserted that none of the conditioned souls, including himself and all the demigods, could know how to satisfy Lord Shiva. But he said, it is known that he is very easily satisfied, so let us try to satisfy him by falling at his lotus feet. In this case, Brahma also suggested that they go and surrender unto the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, for since he is very kind and easily satisfied, this action would prove effective.
I mean, what a practical suggestion. A practical suggestion. And this is it, just falling at his feet. Just falling at his feet, just understand. All respective scholars of the Bhagavad, just understand the Vaishnav culture and the Vaishnav acharan, the behavior of a Vaishnav, how significant it is just to fall at someone's feet. That even in the midst of such offenses and such calamitous, dramatic catastrophic, but still something as simple as falling down at the lotus feet, falling down at his lotus feet will be sufficient to actually rectify the whole situation. Vaishnav culture, how glorious it is. Bhakti Sheva Paramasiddhi, the highest perfection is serving Vaishnav. We were hearing in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, where one Praitika, one itinerant Brahmin, he came to the house of Jagannath Mishra, and he was received and hosted by Mishra Puranda, and they cleaned the kitchen. He cooked himself. He's carrying around his neck Shalagram Shila and Gopal and chanting the 6-syllable Gopal mantra, meditation. And he didn't eat anything that was not offered to his deity. That was his brata, that was his shava. In fact, when he arrives, Vrindavan Thakur describes this characteristic of him, doesn't describe his position or all of his achievements. He describes his sadhana. He's saying that he doesn't eat anything that he doesn't offer to the Shalagam Shila and Gopal. Gopal by Nabed Davina Kichina Bhojan. He doesn't eat anything. That's seva. And he's cooking, and then he's ringing the bell. Nimai comes, eats the offering. Oh, what a disaster. Calls Jagannath Mishra. Everyone, Jagannath Mishra is so furious. And then the Brahmin just says, bring some fruits, bring some roots. I'll be happy with that. Everybody in the whole house, this is like nighttime. Everybody, they all gather, they're begging that Brahmin, please cook again, please cook again. Oh, okay. Seeing as that you've all requested, again, they clean the kitchen, even though it was just cleaned 45 minutes ago. Again, they clean the whole kitchen. And he cooks the same offerings. He sits down. They say, take Nimai to the ladies go off in Nimai, and they're chastising him. Oh, you eat the Brahmin's food. We don't know where this Brahmin is from, Nimai. You ate his food, you lost your caste. Nimai's laughing. I'm a cowherd boy. I can eat the food of a Brahmin anytime. What's the harm in? Besides, he was calling me. The ladies couldn't understand the enigmatic statements of Vishwambara. Navadip Chandra. And then he finishes, he's with the ladies, and then just as that Brahma is offering again, Nimai slips away, ringing the bell. The Brahman's in meditation. Again, he comes into the room, hot rice, ghee. Nimai's sitting eating. The Brahman opens his eyes, broken his meditation, sees Nimai again. Unbelievable. Second time, the child has spoiled the offering. Everyone's completely furious. Jagannath Mishra comes with a stick, is chasing Nimai. The Brahman had to hold him down. No. There's no point in beating the child. He's so young. He doesn't know what's right and wrong. It'll just be traumatic for him. Don't beat him, Mishra. Jagannath Mishra is sitting there with his hands. Everyone's completely distraught. What to do now? Late at night, the guy's fasting. He's tried to cook 2 times. He can't eat anything. What a predicament. And then Vishwarup, Mahaprabhu's elder brother, Vishwarup, he comes. And just seeing the form of Vishwarup, that Brahmin is completely enchanted. Nityananda Prakash, his expansion of Lord Nityananda, Vishwarup, Mahaprabhu's elder brother. And he sits down to speak. Sits down, he's been speaking. How fortunate it was that such a Vaishnava Brahmin came to our house. Koti mukta modde dulab. What's that? Koti gyani modde dulab. Koti gyani modde. Hoy ekjon mukta. Mahaprabhu is explaining to Sanatana Goswami and Sanatana Shikha. Koti gyani modde hoy ekjon mukta. Out of 10 million gyanis, you'll find one actually liberated soul. Koti gyani modde hoy ekjon mukta. Koti mukta modde dulabe Krishna Bhakta. And amongst 10 million such liberated souls, it's rare to find a devotee of Krishna. So how fortunate we are to have a devotee of Krishna come to our home. And our fortune now is being lost because you're having to fast. So please, out of kindness, you please cook. The Brahmin is saying, I'm happy with some fruits. I live in the forest. I don't eat rice every day. Just bring some fruits. And Vishwarup, he falls down. He holds the feet of that Brahmin. Vishwarup is my point here. He falls down, he holds the feet of that Brahmin, holding the feet, and then he begs, please cook again. So that was enough. The Brahmin, he couldn't refuse that appeal of Vishwarup, who fell down at his feet. Very difficult to refuse someone that's clasping hold of your feet. Very difficult. So in this way, they had the strategy. And of course, the Brahmin, he decided to cook again the 3rd time. And then the Jagannath Mishra was saying, take Nimai away, take him to the next village. And the lady said, Chintanai, he's fallen asleep. Nimai won't do anything else. And then everyone was asleep in the house. And then again, he's offering, and Nimai comes again the 3rd time. And the Brahmin this time, he's calling out, no one came. Everyone's asleep. In the middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then Nimai's saying, what's the problem? You keep calling me. Mon mantra jape. More Abahan, you're chanting my mantra, more mantra jape, more Abahan, you're inviting me. Rohite na pariyami ashi tomarsthan. I cannot resist. Mahaprabhu was explaining, when you're calling me to accept this offering, I cannot resist. Rohite na pariyami, I cannot resist. Ashi tomarsthan, I come to that place. More mantra jape, you're chanting my mantra. More Abahan, you're inviting me to take the offering, I cannot resist. And then he reveals him, his Astabhuj, 8-arm form, which you've never seen before. He reveals to that Brahman, simply to fulfill his desire and meditating on that form. He saw that Vrindavan manifest in the house of Jagannath Mishra. The gopis, the Gopagan, the cows, the worshipable Ishta Devata of the Brahman had appeared to fulfill his desire. So falling down at the feet is very powerful. And in this way, Lord Brahma advised. Yeah. So here we see a bit of an overview of the chapter, what's going on. The demigods approach Brahma, and now there's a wonderful description of Kailash, the residence of Lord Shiva. It's a special place. What's that? Devi Mahesha Haridama Shuteshu, as is explained in Brahma Samhita, that this Devi Mahesha Haridam, this Kailash, it's a special place, a special tattva, not part of the material world, and it's not in the Haridam, Vaikuntha. It's not in Vaikuntha, it's not in the material world. It's a special Shiv Dham, Kailash. And they go there. And the description is very beautiful. And we hear that the demigods have darshan of Lord Shiva. And Lord Brahma glorifies Lord Shiva and then petitions him. Let's read some aspects of the description of Kailash Dham, where Lord Shiva resides. Please read.
The abode known as Kailash is full of different herbs and vegetables, and it is sanctified by Vedic hymns and mystic yoga practice. Thus, the residents of that abode are demigods by birth and have all mystic powers. Beside them, there are other human beings who are known as Kinnars and Gandharvas and are accompanied by their beautiful wives who are known as Apsaras or angels.
And there's Kailash Mountain in the Himalayas. There's Kailash Mountain. You cannot go there. You cannot climb that mountain. It's never been climbed. It's in China, actually. And you have to get a special permit just to go there. And they go there, and you can go around it. You can do circumambulation. One of the devotees, a friend here, he's from New Zealand. His name Jashura Dulal. Just saw him yesterday. I'd been away from Mayapur for 5 years. He used to be a mountaineer, a mountain climber, a mountaineer. I mean, he'd take people climbing mountains in New Zealand. And he went there on a tour, but you cannot climb Kailash Mountain. It's illegal in China. It's in China, but they don't let people climb. They know that it's a mystical place. But this Kailash, this is even a special place. This is ethereal. It's the abode of Lord Shiva. Read on.
Kailash is full of mountains filled with all kinds of valuable jewels and minerals and surrounded by all varieties of valuable trees and plants. The top of hill is nicely decorated by various types of deer. There are many waterfalls, and in the mountains there are many beautiful caves in which the very beautiful wives of mystics are found.
Now we could have created something like this in Mayapur instead of just apartment buildings, like we've done. We had all this land. Actually, we could have created a wonderful park with zoos and with ponds and waterfalls and gardens and trees and hermitages. But instead, we just sold the land to anyone who wanted it, and people just built apartment buildings, and that's what we've got here. So, yeah, so much for that. Please read on.
On Kailash Hill, there is always the rhythmical sound of peacock's sweet vibrations and the bees humming. Cuckoos are always singing, and other birds whisper amongst themselves. There are tall trees with straight branches that appear to call the sweet birds, and when herds of elephants pass through the hills, it appears that the Kailash Hill moves with them. When the waterfalls resound, it appears that Kailash Hill does also.
Oh, Shruti Brinda, scholars of the Bhagavad, just appreciate Srila Prabhupada's poetry. Just appreciate Srila Prabhupada's writing skill. He's translating from the Sanskrit mantra, Sanskrit verse. But Prabhupada's English translations are so poetic. It's a copy. The elephants pass through the hills. It appears that Kailash Hill moves with them. When the waterfalls resound, it appears that Kailash Hill does also. Prabhupada's English, exquisite. Read on.
The whole of Kailash Hill is decorated with various kinds of trees, of which the following names may be mentioned.
Yeah. So let's have a look at some of the trees. Just the details of the trees. Look at this. This is from Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's study guide. Look at this. The Oshodis, the valuable jewels and minerals, the waterfalls, the peacocks, the tall trees, the bees humming, the singing of cuckoos. Look at the trees, the flower-bearing trees. I mean, have you even heard of these flowers? They're all flower-bearing. The mandar, the parijata, the sharala, tamal, dala, kobida, ashan, arjuna, amrajati, mango, Kadamba, Duli Kadamba, Naga, Punaga, Champaka, Pataka, Aloka, Bakula, Kunda, Kuroboka. This is the flowers. The golden lotus flower, there's a Shonar Champa, or the Shonar Podda. The cinnamon tree, Malati, Kubja, Malika, Madhavi. That's just the flowers. I mean, that's opulence. Build a garden, have them come to Mayapur, have a garden and make creepers, lota and creepers, and offer the flowers to Radha Madhav. There's so many devotees here that they get land, they didn't even build garden. They didn't even build garden, not even a little garden, a little strip. Just whatever land they had from one end to the other, they built an apartment building and as many flats as they can make to sell. And this is world headquarters. Look at the fruit trees, the kuta, the kata, jackfruit, cholar, banyan, plakash, noyagroda, ashvatita, beetle, puri, burjapatra, rajapuja, mango, maduka, inguda, tin bamboos, chica, and other similar trees, just the variety of the trees, the fruits. I mean, this is a hermitage. The birds. Did anybody buy land in Mayapur and make a little pukur and have some birds? The birds, the whisper very straight, the deer, the monkeys, the boars, the lions, the rickshaws, such as crows, forest asses, tigers, small deer, buffalo, and many other animals. Look at the varieties of deer. You know, years ago in Mayapur, when I first came to Mayapur, 30 years ago, there's a zoo. We had a zoo here. There's a zoo it's where the TOVP is. There's a zoo there. There's a zoo. You know, a zoo, Z-O-O. There's a zoo in Mayapur. We had a deer and we had a bear, I think. People would come to see the exotic animals. So what are your thoughts on Kailash, the abode of Lord Shiva? What comes to mind when you hear this description? Oh, assembly of Vaishnava scholars. Rukmini Harishabini Devidasi.
See, the thought comes like Lord Shiva is not an ordinary person. Krishna is milk, Lord Shiva is curd. He is a Vaishnava Nam Yata Shambhu. A Vaishnav should be treated like this only. They should be given the place highest of everything. When I was remembering one pastime of Srila Prabhupada, that once somebody asked Srila Prabhupada that he was in a Rolls-Royce car. It's a very expensive car. So Prabhupada said, for a representative of Krishna, a car made of gold should come. What about these small cars and all? So this thing, this thought is coming in my mind that this is so Lord Shiva is above of mode of goodness. Yes, he's a caretaker of mode of ignorance, but sometimes he comes in this, but he's above all the modes and he's above the mode of goodness even. So this environment should be given to a Vaishnava, and this is a one, and he has taken the charge such like that he has taken a charge of mode of ignorance, which is very difficult. He took the poison in the neck, he holds that poison in his neck. So he takes charge, he takes such an important responsibility of Krishna. Krishna is like he just always I'm just remembering one verse of Brahma Samhita that he always reside in Golok Vrindavan. He performs he's always busy in performing his pastimes in Golok Vrindavan. So these are the demigods who takes charge of and take responsibility actually. So this position which Lord Shiva is getting, So this is, yes, it should be given to a Vaishnava. And what to say about the Vaishnava like Lord Shiva? This is the best. And as you were describing that, when I was reading all these things, yes, I was also thinking that these all things, the fruits, the flowers, these all should be offered to Radha and Krishna. As you mentioned that Radha Madhav. So these thoughts were coming in my mind.
Rukmini, Hari Shavini Devi Dasa, you'd be quite inclined to live in such a place. It appears.
I just want to go to Golok Vrindavan, Prabhuji.
What are others' thoughts? Others' thoughts on the description of Kailash Dham? What comes to mind when you hear these descriptions of the abode of Lord Shiva? Nothing comes to mind. Let's read on.
There is a small lake named Alaknanda in which Sati used to take her bath. And that lake is specially auspicious. All the demigods, after seeing the specific beauty of Kailash Hill, was struck with wonder at a great opulence to be found there.
Yeah. Let's read on.
Thus the demigod saw the wonderfully beautiful region known as Alaka in the forest known as Sugandhi, which means full of fragrance. The forest is known as Sugandhika because of its abundance of lotus flowers. They also saw the two rivers named Nanda and Alakananda. These two rivers are sanctified by the dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda. My dear Shata, Vidura, the celestial damsels come down to those rivers in their airplanes with their husbands, and after sexual enjoyment, they enter the water and enjoy sprinkling their husbands with water.
That's all adding to the atmosphere here. Please read.
After the damsels of the heavenly planets bathe in the water, it becomes yellowish and fragrant due to the kumkuma from their bodies. Thus the elephants come to bathe there with their wives, the she-elephants, and they also drink the water, although they are not thirsty.
Were you aware of that, respected scholars of the Bhagavatam, that these celestial damsels, along with their husbands, they come down to the abode of Kailash and they bathe in the rivers there, and then they leave the kumkum-scented water, yellowish colored water there, and they bathe there in that water. And then the elephants come and they also drink that water and bathe in that water. Were you aware that that goes on? Please read.
The airplanes of the heavenly denizens are bedecked with pearls, gold, and many valuable jewels. The heavenly denizens are compared to clouds in the sky, decorated with occasional flashes of electric lightning. While traveling, the demigods passed over the forest known as Sugandhika, which is full of varieties of flowers, fruits, and desire trees.
Now, it's not actually that we have to go to this place. Rukmini, Hari, Shavini, Mataji, it's not that we're going there, but the Srimad Bhagavatam actually takes us there. Vyas Muni, he takes us there. So we can experience the environment, the atmosphere, and the interaction between Lord Shiva and the demigods that goes on there. This is the Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam. Just like we have the Vrindavan Das Thakur explains that this is Srimad Bhagavad. There's also Chaitanya Bhagavat. It's called Bhagavat. It's called Bhagavad because it's the same author that wrote Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyas Muni. Krishna Leela Bhagavate Kohe Bed Vyas. Chaitanya Leela Vyas Vrindavan Das. He appears as Vrindavan Das Thakur and writes Chaitanya Bhagavat. And he's explaining in the Chaitanya about Monodeyeshu no Bhai Shri Chaitanya Kotar. Bhakti Shangai Jai Jai Leela Koilo Jota Jota. Jota Jota is Bengali, it means as it is. We have Bhagavad Gita Jota Jota. Bhagavad Gita as it is. Maybe it's similar in Hindi, Jota Jota. So it says, Bhakti Shangai Jai Jai Leela Koilo Jota Jota. Here are the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord he performed with his devotees as they happened. Jota Jota. So this, by hearing the Bhagavad Sravan, we can go to Kailash. We can experience that atmosphere. We can feel the breezes. We can hear the birds. We can imagine ourselves drinking some of that water and being refreshed in the ponds that the celestial damsels have come and bathed in. We can experience these things. The Pibata Bhagavatam Rasham, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasham, Bhakti Rash, hearing the glories of the great Vaishnav Acharya Mahadev, by hearing his glories, hearing his Dham, we're in Bhakti Rash. We're enjoying we're tasting the Bhakti Rash through the ears. Prabhupada's commenting, please read.
It is understood that even the damsels of the heavenly planets are polluted by thoughts of sex enjoyment, and therefore they come in airplanes to bathe in the rivers Nanda and Alaknanda. It is significant that these rivers, Nanda and Alaknanda, are sanctified by the dust of the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The damsels of the heavenly planets, polluted by thoughts of sex life, come down to bathe in the sanctified rivers and enjoy sprinkling water on their husbands. Two words are very significant in this connection. Rati Karshita means that the damsels become morose after sex enjoyment. Although they accept sex enjoyment as a bodily demand, afterwards they are not happy.
Yeah. Shall we take the question, Rukmini Mataji?
Prabhuji, I beg forgiveness, but I'm not able to understand what I have understood in my past years. We hear about the Swarga and the heavenly planets, but but our goal is to go to Golok Vrindavan only to serve the divine couple. So how to understand that going and drinking here? I'm just able to understand the Shiv Tattva, the Kailash. I'm just able to understand that he is also, Lord Shiva is also he's also a Vaishnava, like this only. So how to understand that to go to Kailash and drink and this and that? You were explaining.
You mean why is there not in Kailash? Why is not in Goloka? If he's a Vaishnava, he's preaching, and this is his base. His preaching base. He goes against. This is his preaching base. This is his ashram. His abode. Yes, his abode. Brahma Samhita is explaining. Devi Mahesha Haridama. He has his abode. He's such a powerful. He has his own planet. He has his own realm. That's acceptable. And it's a far out place. Far out. It's a far out place. And Bhagavatam revealing for us.
So does it mean that I not have to be allowed a little bit for these, that how good that place would be? Like if I suppose I'm staying in India, but I'm not allowed to go to foreign or abroad, same like this. So and goal is very much clear to go to Golok Vrindavan. So is this okay? I beg forgiveness, I'm not able to understand actually. How shall I take the bhakti from it?
From what? From this description?
From Kailash, yes.
We explained this is how Lord Shiva is his residence. That's it. Everything's related to Krishna. As Lord Shiva's residence is. What would you expect? Lord Shiva's residence is some apartment building, and you go in and there's the attached bathroom, and he sits there, he pays the rent, and sometimes has to do repairs. the wood carpentry, the door is broken. You think he lives in a place like that? Lord Shiva is extra. Vaishnavanam Yatashambu, the greatest Vaishnava, his abode is also extraordinary. That's it. But it's extraordinary in all natural beauty. And that's wonderful. It's so sweet. It's so attractive to hear Lord Shiva's abode. And I was making comments that actually we should create we should take example from this and create hermitages and ashrams in the holy dhams. What he's doing under that tree, he's chanting the name of Lord Ram. He's chanting the name of Lord Ram. This is his ashram. Everyone has their ashram. Narad Muni has his ashram. There's Lord Shiva's residence. And it's special because he's a great Vaishnav. Let's read on.
In complete contrast with the influence of this atmosphere on the minds of the living entity within the material world is the description of the spiritual world. The women there are hundreds and thousands of times more beautiful than the women here in this material world. And the spiritual atmosphere is also many times better. Yet despite the pleasant atmosphere, the minds of the denizens don't become agitated because in the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planet, the spiritualistic minds of the inhabitant are so much absorbed in the spiritual vibration of the chanting of the glories of the Lord that such enjoyment could not be surpassed by any other enjoyment, even sex, which is the culmination of all pleasure in the material world. In other words, in the Vaikuntha world, in spite of its better atmosphere and facility, there is no impetus for sex life.
So, back to our description of Kailash, Rukmini Mataji, Prabhupada wanted the devotees to paint pictures of this beautiful description. And just by hearing this description, 4th Canto, chapter 6, Srimad Bhagavatam, just by hearing this description, Rukmini, we awaken love of Krishna. By hearing this description, we awaken love of Krishna. That's confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Bhagavat Sravan, Mathura Bas, Nam Shankirtan, Shadu Shanga, Nam Shankirtan, Bhagavat Sravan, Mathura Bas, Sri Murtira Shadaya Sheban, Shaka Sharan Shrestha Epachanga, Krishna Prema Janamaya, Epache Alpashanga. Even just by reading this section, Alpashanga of Bhagavat Sravan, Krishna Prema Janamaya, awaken love for Krishna. Each and every Jasmin Pratishlokam, Tadbhag Vishaga, Janataga Viplava, Jasmin Pratishlokam, each and every syllable causes revolution. Please read.
In that celestial forest, there were many birds whose necks were colored reddish and whose sweet sounds mixed with the humming of the bees. The lakes were abundantly decorated with crying swamps as well as strong-stemmed lotus flowers.
Yeah, read on.
All these atmospheric influences unsettled the forest elephants who flocked together in the sandalwood forest, and the blowing wind agitated the mind of the damsels there for further sexual enjoyment. They also saw the bathing ghats, and their staircases were made of Vaidurya Muni. The water was full of lotus flowers. Passing by such lakes, the demigods reached a place where there was a great banyan tree.
Yeah, the bathing ghat. Vaidurya Muni, the bathing ghat. We're making a Prabhupada ghat here in Mayapur, actually, Prabhupada ghat. I'm waiting to see how beautiful is it going to be. It should be stone. There should be little temples there, Shiv temples. Where I bathe here, Ma Ganga, those days, I bathe. There's a Shiva Linga just under the tree, just on the bank, and the ghat, the bathing ghat, little pranami box there. Someone, I don't know anyone comes and worships. I take the Ganga Jal every day, and I bathe Lord Shiva there, and I take bath in Ganga, come out and bathe Lord Shiva on the banks of the Ganga. We have bathing ghat. We should have Shiva, Lord Shiva. We have Ganga Devi Vigraha. Yeah, on the banks of the Ganga, we have Lord Shiva. We have Lord Shiva Lingas. After coming from bath, you can bathe. Lord Shiva desires to worship Gauranga in Mayapur on the banks of Ganga. He's explaining to Parvati in Satyajuga Mayarpur Anturbage Janabir Tire Gauranga Bhajibo Ami Rohira Kutire. He's explaining that Mayarpur Anturbage, deep within the underdeep in Mayapur, Janabir Tire, on the banks of Maganga, Gauranga Bhajibo Ami. I will worship Gauranga, Rohira Kutire, residing in a cottage. So Lord Shiva's desire is to reside in Mayapur, on the banks of Maganga, and chant Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. Let's read on.
That banyan tree was 800 miles high, and its branches spread over 600 miles around. The tree cast a fine shade which permanently cooled the temperature, yet there was no noise of birds.
800 miles high, 600. I mean, that would 600 miles. If we had a banyan tree like that here, all of Gormandel, probably half of Calcutta also. What a tree. Please read.
The demigod saw Lord Shiva sitting under that tree, which was competent to give perfection to mystic yogis and deliver all people. As grave as time eternal, he appeared to have given up all anger. Lord Shiva was there, surrounded by saintly persons like Kuber, the master of Guyakas, and the four Kumaras, who were already liberated souls. Lord Shiva was grave and saintly.
Okay, the four Kumaras, they're like related brothers. They're all sons of Brahma. Please read.
The demigod saw Lord Shiva situated in his perfection as master of the senses, knowledge, fruitive activity, and the path of achieving perfection. He was the friend of the entire world, and by virtue of his full affection for everyone, he was very auspicious. He was seated on the deer skin and was practicing all form of austerity. Because his body was smeared with ashes, he looked like an evening cloud. On his hair was a sign of half moon, a symbolic representation. He was seated on a straw mattress and speaking to all present, including the great sage Narad, to whom he specifically spoke about the absolute truth. His left leg.
Yeah.
His left leg was placed on his right thigh, and his left hand was placed on his left thigh. The sitting posture is called Virasana. In his right hand, he held the Rudraksh beads, and his finger was in the mode of argument.
Virasana. Virashana is Padmasana with the hand raise. It's called Virashana. Padmasana with the hand raise in the argumentative mudra. It's commenting it. Mahaprabhu also revealed this form. When he first revealed his Bhagavata, his godliness, to Srivash Thakur. Srivash Thakur was inside the temple. He was worshipping Lord Nrsimhadev. Mahaprabhu came to the door, kicking on the door. Kaha puja koro, kaha dhyan. Jaha puja koro, deko biddaman. Who are you worshipping? Who are you meditating on? Mahaprabhu was kicking on the door. Jaha puja koro, deko biddaman. Look, the one you are worshipping, look, he's present here. Srivash Thakur completely overwhelmed, hearing the door, hearing Mahaprabhu. He comes out. Deki birashane boshi achin bishrambar. Chatur bhuj shankar chakragara padmadar. Deki birashane boshi achin bishrambar. He sees Mahaprabhu sitting in the Virashana pose. Deki birashane boshi achin bishrambar. Chatur bhuj shankar chakrapada padmagada dhar. This form of Mahaprabhu, forearms. In Padmasana with one hand raised in the Virashasana, described by Vrindavan Thakur. We don't see that murti, we don't see that Vigraha form of Mahaprabhu, but it's described there. So Lord Shiva is sitting in the Virashana pose, Padmasana with the argumentative mudra on display. Please read.
All the sages and demigods headed by Indra offered their respectful obeisance unto Lord Shiva with folded hands. Lord Shiva was dressed in saffron garments and absorbed in trance, thus appearing to be the foremost of all sages.
Please read.
Lord Shiva is described here as Adhishwara. Ishwara means controller, and Adhishwara means particularly controller of the senses. Generally, our materially contaminated senses are apt to engage in sense gratifying activities. But when a person is elevated by wisdom and austerity, the senses then becomes purified and they become engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is the emblem of such perfection, and therefore in the scriptures it is said, Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhuhu. Lord Shiva is a Vaishnava. Lord Shiva, by his actions within this material world, teaches all conditioned souls how to engage in devotional service 24 hours a day. Therefore, he is described here as Lokamangala, good fortune personified for all conditioned souls.
Yeah, read on.
Lord Shiva's symptoms of austerity are not exactly those of a Vaishnava. Lord Shiva is certainly the number one Vaishnava, but he exhibits a feature for a particular class of men who cannot follow the Vaishnava principles. The Shaitavitis, the devotees of Lord Shiva, generally dress like Lord Shiva, and sometimes they indulge in smoking and taking intoxicants. Such practices are never accepted by the followers of Vaishnava rituals.
Yeah. Any questions up to this point on Lord Shiva in his abode?
Okay, I had a question. So it's not so much to do with, Kailash, but more to do with, Shiva. It's, when it is an established fact that Lord Shiva is the, predominant or the most eminent Vaishnava, why do Shivaites, not recognize it, when it's written in the scriptures, it's mentioned by authority, and Shiva himself, proclaims it, that he worships Krishna, he worships Narayan, then why do Shivaites fail to accept it? Is it because of their material conditioning or?
Yeah. It's those who cannot come to the platform of Vishnu or Adana, those who cannot come to the platform, then what to do with such cases? Well, then better that they worship Lord Shiva, and then gradually they'll be purified. So those who cannot come to the platform of Shuddha Vaishnav, Shuddha Vaishnav, they can't control their thing. They can't maintain the platform of Shuddha Vaishnav Acharan. So these people can take shelter of Lord Shiva, and for example, worshipping the Radha Krishna. You can't worship in ISKCON to have Radha Krishna worship. You have to have special permission, almost from the GBC. You have to have permission from the Ministry of Deity Worship. I think Bimal Prasad Prabhu is involved. It's no ordinary thing. You have to be qualified. They have to see that the standard is there. Now, Shiv Linga, as I said, is on the side of the Ganga. There's no one there. Anyone can come. Anyone. Regardless of birth, jati, the age, the woman, man, the clean, unclean, this is on the side of the river, there's Shiv Linga. And the pot is there, anyone can come and worship. So anyone cannot go into the temple and worship Radha and Krishna in that way, do Abhishek for Radha and Krishna. So the qualifications are higher for worshipping Radha and Krishna. So Lord Shiva, out of kindness, he makes himself available for those who will not come to the qualification of worshipping Radha and Krishna, that you worship him, you'll be purified.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
So he's saying worship me because then they'll be purified. He's saying worship me, and in different Shiv Purana, different things, worship me, they'll be purified. They don't know. So better that they worship him. Even they think he's God, and at least better that even they think he's not that he is God. He is Bhagavan. He's Vishnu. He's the Guna Avatar. He is God, just like the same substance, milk and yogurt. But he's assumed that mood in order to reclaim these debauchees. So better that so it's out of his great kindness that he's assuming this role and assuming this dress, And they may not know his position. They may not know the position of Vishnu, and they may not know his relationship with Vishnu. But by meditating on him, by doing Sheba for him, by doing some service, that we purified. Bhakata Sheva Paramashiti, we quoted a little earlier. Bhakata Sheva Paramashiti, he's a Vaishnava. They're worshipping him, considering himself his follower. They'll be purified. Rukmini, questions?
Yes.
Lord Shiva and Kailash. Question?
Not exactly, sorry, but yes. So it was just coming in my mind, Prabhuji. When we deal with some new people, like they are not devotees yet, but they say that, but they follow, as we are discussing, they follow Lord Shiva. And if we take the different scriptures, like if we talk about it and other demigods, and if we talk about the Lord Shiva scripture, so they say that Lord Shiva is the highest. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have come to know about this, but how to make other people understand this thing if they are not at that level to understand?
Oh, well,
So
you have to
they
educate.
compare
You
Krishna
have to
and
educate. Yeah, have to educate them. By teaching them Prabhupada's books, they have to read Prabhupada's books. I mean, we're all coming from confused background. Perhaps many of you were all confused before you came to Krishna consciousness on the position of Lord Shiva. Many, I would say all of you, didn't understand his actual position. What to speak of us? We're coming from the Western countries. We didn't even know what was Lord Shiva. We didn't even know anything. Or Govinda, or Goloka. What to speak of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have to get an education. That's why we're here. He's gone. Bring him to the temple, have classes, give them the books, give training programs. Rukmini, you're an advanced scholar of the Bhagavat. You have to show mercy upon such ignorant souls and educate them. And gradually, by association, by hearing from Srila Prabhupada, their misunderstandings will be gradually resolved. What other hope is there? What other process is there? What other solution can be there? Have to read Prabhupada's books. They have to be educated. We have class in our temples. That's why our temples are not like other temples where you just go take darshan and leave. Our temples are educational centers where you go, there's a class every morning. You sit down, you hear. You hear the Bhagavad Siddhanta. You hear, your misunderstandings will be rectified. Prabhupada wanted his devotees to be scholars of the Bhagavatam, so that they can defeat the misunderstandings on the basis of the Shastric evidence. So become expert in the conclusions of the Bhagavad and become friendly to people, and become their well-wisher. Now, so many people coming from background of worshipping demigods have come to the platform of pure Vaishnava as a result of associating with the Krishna conscious devotees, and that's it. It's given association.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions at this point on Lord Shiva and Kailash and his atmosphere being approached by Lord Brahma and the demigods? Let's hear a little bit about Lord Shiva in Mayapur. Let's please read. This is Prabhupada's purport to text number 39. Someone like to read?
It is said that during the advent of Lord Chaitanya, Sadashiva appeared as Advaita Prabhu, and Advaita Prabhu's chief concern was to elevate the fallen conditioned souls to the platform of devotional service to Lord Krishna. Since people were engaged in useless occupations which would continue their material existence, Lord Shiva, in the form of Lord Advaita, appealed to the Supreme Lord to appear as Lord Chaitanya to deliver these illusioned souls. Actually, Lord Chaitanya appeared on the request of Lord Advaita. Similarly, Lord Shiva has a sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya. He is always thinking about the deliverance of the fallen souls as exhibited by Lord Advaita Prabhu.
Very interesting. It's very interesting here. Prabhupada's comment. This is Prabhupada's purport. It's very interesting. Why do we consider Srila Advaita Thakur Mahashai a partial incarnation of Lord Shiva? Why is that? What we hear that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, It's describing Advaita Thakur, describing his incarnation of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. But why? Yeah. Okay, he's God, Bhagavan, Mahavishnu. Okay, he has to. He realizes that that Jashodanandan himself has to appear in order to bestow Krishna Prema, Braja Prema. So he prays, and Prabhupada's commenting that his desire to liberate all of the conditioned souls, Advaita Thakur's desire, Prabhupada says that he's Lord Shiva. That's the mood of Lord Shiva manifesting in Advaita Thakur's character. Isn't that interesting? Lord Shiva, Doya Koro Shita Poti, Advaita Goshai, Doya Koro Shita Poti, Advaita Goshai, Toba Kripa Bole Pai Chaitanya Nitai. Doya Koro Shita Poti, Advaita Goshai, Toba Kripa Bole. Toba Kripa Bole, by the strength of your mercy, Toba Kripa Bole Chaitanya Nitai. We can get Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and that's Prabhupada's mentioning here that's the Lord Shiva's mood, manifesting in Advaita Thakur. He says that Lord Shiva appealed to the Supreme Lord to appear as Lord Chaitanya. Lord Shiva, in the form of Advaita, Lord Shiva in the form of Advaita appeared to the Supreme Lord to appear as Lord Chaitanya. Isn't that amazing? Prabhupada's mentioning it. It is the influence, Lord Shiva's presence in Advaita Thakur. That's why he's praying. That's Advaita Thakur. That means that we're worshipping Lord Shiva every day now in the ISKCON, in our Panchatattva Upasana, is worshipping Lord Shiva because he's present there in the form of Advaita Thakur, and his mercy is being spread throughout the Sankirtan movement because he's present there in the form of Advaita Thakur. Any questions? There was one interesting incident. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to Bengal, having taken sannyas. He was in Jagannath Puri. He desired to go to Vrindavan. He'd been after 4 years after taking sannyas. He made his plan to go to Vrindavan. Go to hoite mar doi shamashai janabi janani janabi e doi doyamai. And he requested permission from Shabama Bhattacharya and Ramananda Rai to go to Vrindavan via Bengal, through Bengal. And he said, go to Hoite Murdui Shamashra. I have 2 shelters in Gaudadesh. Janani Janabi, Mother Sachimata and Mahaganga. So I'm desiring to go to associate with those devotees in Bengal and then take them with me to Vrindavan. That was Mahaprabhu's desire. So I went to Bengal. Thousands and thousands of devotees followed him at every step. And eventually he arrived in Ramkelli. And he's performing Shumchudan not far from the Nawab Hussain Palace. And then Rupa and Sanatan, they came. He met with Rupa and Sanatan. He delivered them, Aj hoite tomanam Rup Sanatan Dhanna Chara Toma Dhanna Fete one morning. Initiated them. Aj hoite tomanam Rup Sanatan. And then having inspired Rupa and Sanatan, he carried on, and Sanatan Goswami said, actually, it's not good to enter Vrindavan with such a crowd. Mahaprabhu, he listened, and then he went on, and then next morning, in Kanai Natasala, he reflected on what Sanatan Goswami said. He said, it's actually true what Sanatan says. And Sanatan's teaching me, Krishna's teaching me through the lips of Sanatan Goswami. So he turned around and didn't carry on to Vrindavan. He went back to Jagannath Puri again through Bengal. He went to Bidanagar, the other side of he didn't go to Mayapur. Shanna Shira Dharmana, hey Shannash Korea, Nija Janmashtane, Rohe Kutumbalaya. Against the principles of a sannyas, Mahaprabhu himself explains in Shantipur, for a sannyasi to return to his home. So he doesn't go to Mayapur, he goes to Bidanagar, the other side of the Ganga, and delivers so many offenders, Gopal Chapal, Devananda Pandit, and others that didn't take advantage of his association when he was performing Shankirtan in Navadip as Grihasta. So he became a sannyasi, delivered all those persons. And then as he was returning again through Shantipur, Sachimata came 2 times after Mahaprabhu's sannyas. He met him twice. Immediately after taking sannyas, Nityananda Prabhu, he arranged Mahaprabhu to spend 10 days in Shantipur. At that time, Sachimata came. And then 4 years later, as he was attempting to go to Vrindavan, chapter 17 of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, it's describing that he went to Ramkelli. Sanatana Goswami advised him to return, not to go to Vrindavan with such a crowd. He returned. Again, he came to Shantipur. At that time, Sachimata came again, the second time. Spent time with Mahaprabhu. Also, Raghunath Das, he was a young boy. Because Advaita Thakur favored their father, Govardhan Majumdar. In fact, they were supporting Advaita Thakur. They were supporting all the Brahmins in Bengal. So therefore, the son, Raghunath Das, he was given special opportunity to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the house of Advaita Thakur in Shantipur. Raghunath Das, he came for 7 days. So at that time, when Mahaprabhu, he came back from Ramkelli and journeying back to Jagannath Puri in Shantipur, at that time, he came again to Shantipur. At that time, he happened to be the appearance day of Srila Madhavendra Puri Prabhupada, the guru of Advaita Thakur, Srila Madhavendra Puri. Just recently, I visited his birthplace in northeast Bengal, northeast Bangladesh. The birthplace of Srila Madhavendra Puri Prabhupada. It's just a mile or so away from the birthplace of Srila Advaita Thakur, where we have a temple in ISKCON, in the northeast of Bangladesh. We were there. So Madhavendra Puri Madhavendra Puri was the guru of Advaita Thakur, as well as Ishwara Puri. Advaita Thakur, he's like the guru of Mahaprabhu. On the level of the guru, his god brother is Ishwara Puri, both disciples of Madhavendra Puri. Nityananda Prabhu had said in some places that he took initiation from Advaita Thakur. It says that in Shantipur, there's a little temple that says Lord Nityananda Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur received initiation from Advaita Thakur. Nityananda Prabhu Shiksha, disciple of Advaita Thakur. So he was performing the Vyasa Puja of Madhavendra Puri at that time when Mahaprabhu came, and then seeing the arrangements that Advaita Thakur had made for the Vyasa Puja of Madhavendra Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very astonished. I'll read to you a few statements that he makes. This is from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Antyakhanda, chapter 5. Antyakhanda, chapter 5. Mahaprabhu's describing Mahaprabhu's return from Ramkelli. Prabhu bole, ei shampati, manushir noi. He's seeing the arrangement. He saw that there were rooms and rooms of sabji. There were rooms and rooms of leaf plates, rooms and rooms of clay pots, the rooms and rooms of yogurt, of milk, of dal, of ghee, of chow, rice. It's like he couldn't believe the arrangement. It went on for like such an arrangement. Prabhu bole, ei shampati manusha noi. This is not possible to be arranged by a manush, an ordinary man, Mahaprabhu is saying. He's saying, Acharya Mahesh heno morchittaloi. Acharya Mahesh. Advaita Acharya is Lord Shiva. Heno morchittaloi. I'm thinking in my heart. Morchittaloi, Mahaprabhu is explaining. It seems to me, seeing this arrangement, which is not possible to be arranged by any ordinary devotee, there's such an arrangement for the Vyasa Puja that Lord, he's saying that Advaita Thakur, he's Lord Shiva. Only Lord Shiva has the potency to create such a arrangement. Bhujilen Acharya Mahesh Avatar. He explained that Advaita Acharya Mahesh Avatar is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. E moto hashi Prabhu bale bar. Again and again he's saying. Again and again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of Lord Shiva. Because of this particular incident, actually Chaitanya Bhagavat is compiled before Chaitanya Charitamrita, even decades before. And because of this particular incident in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself declares that Advaita Thakur is incarnation of Lord Shiva, and he says that again and again. So therefore, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and which was compiled decades later by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He's explaining with all the evidence that Lord Shiva is an incarnation of, that Advaita Thakur is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, because that's declared here at this particular incident by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Then he says about the name of Lord Shiva. Mahaprabhu is mentioning Shakrit Jai John Bole Shib Henonam. Shib Henonam, you say the name, Shakrit, one time you say the name of Shiva. Lord Mahaprabhu is saying, Shekhon Prashange Najane Tatta Jan. Even you don't know what it means. Tatta Najane. Tatta Jane Tatta, you don't know, Najane Tatta, you don't know what Shiva means. Even you don't know what it means. If you say the name Lord Shiva, Shekhone Shardaba Pap Hoite Shuddha Hoy. Mahaprabhu is explaining by saying the name of Lord Shiva, you're relieved of all sinful activities, sinful reactions. Sarva Pap Shuddha Hoy, you're purified of all sinful reactions. Bede Shastra Bhagavate E Tatta Koi. He says this is confirmed in the Vedas and the Bhagavatam. Etatakoi. This truth is confirmed in the Bhagavatam. That one who says the name of Lord Shiva, they're purified of all sin. And then Mahaprabhu, he quotes from this Leela. He quotes from this Leela. You may wonder, what's Prabhu going on in the Chaitanya Bhagavatam? Mahaprabhu quotes from this Leela, the Daksha Yajna, and the statements of Sati. And he says this verse. He's quoting, Mahaprabhu quotes from this 4th chapter, which we looked at last week. Sati, and he's quoting this verse of Sati, who's talking to Daksha. And she says, my dear father, you are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name, consisting of 2 syllables, Shi and Ba, purifies one of all sinful activities. His order is never neglected. Lord Shiva is always pure. So Mahaprabhu quoted this verse from the Bhagavatam, this Daksha Yajna Lila. He's quoting Dakshayani's statement here that one is purified of all sin just by hearing the name of Lord Shiva. So in this way, Bole Barba Mahaprabhu, based on the indication of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during this particular Lila, when he was in Shantipur and he saw the arrangement that Advaita Thakur had made for the appearance day of Madhavendra Puri, he concluded that Advaita Thakur must be an incarnation of Lord Shiva. And on the basis of these statements, we subsequently in Chaitanya Charitamrita and subsequently the Goswami Siddhanta, Advaita Thakur is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, combined incarnation of Lord Shiva and Mahavishnu, according to the statements of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Are there any questions on chapter 6? Any question on the topics discussed today?
Prabhuji, I'm afraid I'm going to go on slightly on a tangent here. But, the way, Advaita Acharya is a combination of Mahavishnu and Shiva. Obviously, all of these expansions are Krishna, Shiva is element of Krishna, so on and so forth. But, I love how Krishna combines all of these elements, in different, forms that he, takes or expands into. So, but, when we talk about it, a combination of, two expansions of Krishna. So is it, are we to understand that this is essentially the moods of those expansions combining? Is that the correct way to understand it, or is there an alternative explanation to it?
Well, partial expansion means that that person is there. It's not just their mood. And the mood is there also. But it would say Bhab Prakash. If what you're saying, it would be Bhab Prakash, a manifestation of the mood. But it doesn't say that. It says the Shakat Prakash is a direct expansion. So the person is there and their mood is there. Other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can you please explain that it's written Advaita Acharya is Sadashiv from Vankut? From Vankut.
From what?
From Vankut.
From, did you say from Vaikuntha?
Vaikuntha. Yes, Prabhuji.
I have to check on that one. Because I just heard in the purport this morning, Prabhupada was saying that it's not in Vaikuntha, it's in Shivdam, not in Vaikuntha. So, not in Vaikuntha. He's in the Shivdam. This is a special place. They went there. Lord Brahma went there with the demigods. Not Vaikuntha, Shivdam. It's on the way. You got Mahesh, you got Devi Mahesha. Was it? Has it that? Goloka namni nijadamni tale tatasha Devi Mahesha Haridama Shuteshu. Means one after another. Means that there's Devi Dham, that's material world. Devi Mahesh Hari Dham Shuteshu. Then there's the Hari Dham. There's the Devi Dham, material world, and then there's Mahesh Dham. There's Lord Shiva, Kailash here being described, and then there's Hari Dham. That's Vaikuntha. So my understanding is that it's a separate place.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, we can conclude the session today with this comment from Srila Prabhupada. Please read.
If one fails to satisfy even one demigod out of many hundreds of thousands of demigods, just as Daksha failed to satisfy Lord Shiva, there will be disaster. But in this age, the performance of sacrifice has been simplified. One can chant Hare Krishna, and by pleasing Krishna, one can satisfy all the demigods automatically.
Yeah, so then by chanting Hare Krishna and by preaching Krishna consciousness, worshipping Panchatattva, actually Mahadev, he appears, he wants to be part of the Sankirtan movement. That's what it means to be an expansion of Lord Shiva and Mahavishnu. It means that Lord Shiva wants to participate in a Sankirtan movement. In the form of Advaita Thakur and dance in the house of Shivash Thakur or Gaushundor, Lord Shiva. So when we worship Panchatattva, when we chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadha Shiva Shari Go Bhakta Vrinda, worshiping Lord Shiva automatically. We'll continue tomorrow with the final session. We'll be looking at chapter 7 of this canto. I look forward to your enlivening association at that time. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna.